Hello, Pesky Plant Trackers, and welcome to the first of 3 videos in the Wild Parsnip Phenophase series. Before we get to today's topic, I would like to take a moment to remind all of the volunteers about the safety guidelines. First, remember that ticks can thrive in a variety of different environments, and that you should always do a self-examination after conducting your observations. Next, always remember to respect the space of others and to social distance. Make sure to choose a location where you are confident that you'll be able to do this. Also, please conduct your observations on public property or places where you have permission to access the land. Remember, volunteers with Pesky Plant Trackers are there to observe, not to remove these plants. This is especially important for those observing wild parsnip. The sap of wild parsnip can burn their skin upon contact. Do not touch this plant. Wear gloves, long sleeves, long pants, and closed-toed shoes. For more safety information on this plant, follow the link at the bottom of the slide. Now that we have covered these important safety tips, we can move towards the topic of this video. Today, we will be discussing the leaf phenophases of wild parsnip and how to tell when they are happening. As shown on the timeline, the first leaf phenophase, which is referred to as initial growth, occurs until very early spring, while the second leaf phenophase, the leaves phenophase, can last well into fall. The initial growth phenophase is defined as when new growth of the plant is visible after a period of no growth, such as winter or drought, either from above ground buds with green tips or new green or white shoots breaking through the soil surface. Growth is considered initial on each bud or shoot until the first leaf has fully unfolded. For seedlings, initial growth includes the presence of 1 or 2 small, round, or elongated leaves, also known as cotyledons, before the first true leaf has unfolded. For volunteers, it is especially important to understand this phase begins after a no-growth stage and lasts until the first true leaf has unfolded. In this image, for example, the long oval-shaped leaves you see here are cotyledons. These are not true leaves. Also, if you are unsure about whether or not the leaves on your plant are true leaves, keeping in mind the timeline can make this phenophase much easier to identify. This plant is another example of what the initial growth stage may look like. This is an example of a second-year plant, and although there are many leaves present, none of them have completely unfolded, which means that the initial growth phenophase is occurring. Since the initial growth stage lasts until the first true leaf has unfolded, the two leaf phenophases of wild parsnip will never overlap, unlike some of wild parsnip's other phenophases. Here is a side-by-side comparison of the initial growth phenophase, which is on the left, versus the leaves phenophase, which is on the right. We can see that the leaves on the right have fully flattened themselves, which means that the plant has officially exited the initial growth stage. This brings us to the leaves phenophase. This phenophase is defined as when 1 or more fully unfolded leaves are visible on the plant. For seedlings, consider only true leaves and do not count the 1 or 2 round or elongated leaves, or cotyledons, that are found on the stem almost immediately after the seed germinates. Do not include fully or dried or dead leaves either. It is important to remember that only living leaves count as part of this phenophase. Also, since the leaves phenophase is the longest of wild parsnip's phenophases, as time progresses, the plant itself will change drastically, but the leaf phenophase will persist as long as the leaves are still intact and alive. But remember, dead leaves are not a part of this phenophase. So if the leaves have fallen off or become dry and brittle, they are not considered active. Congratulations! You are now ready to take this information and apply it to your Pesky Plant Trackers observations. Thank you for taking the time to educate yourself on the leaf phenophase of wild parsnip, And make sure to check out the other wild parsnip phenophase videos to provide yourself with a deeper understanding of this plant.